So of course, as we wait to see any glimpse and shimmer of the PlayStation 5 in a physical stance, as well as looking at different questions like what about the box art, what will the menu look like, what will the overall aesthetic design be of the PlayStation 5 era, and it looks like we got our first hint at that. What's going on, guys? It is your boy TKD1 here, back here at PlayStation Source, and we have just gotten our first look at the official new branding for PlayStation Studios. Yep, over here on screen, you are probably seeing the brand new PlayStation Studios branding, which will be used to be on the games that are made and developed by first party or by, I think, second or third party. And the reason why I say second or third party is that they do have something in the games industry.biz article that kind of alludes to that. It's not only that like this branding and this intro that we are about to watch is going to be focused on first party. It's that it's any major PlayStation game that is first party, but also it can not be first party and be like a second or third party type of relationship. Well, I guess second party at that point, not third party, but like maybe second party. When you think of like, you know, Spider-Man PS4, how at that time Insomniac Games wasn't first party, but that game was definitely treated in terms of PlayStation, in terms of marketing, as well as of course they did fund that project and everything's like that. So from that standpoint, you know, that was essentially treated like a first party game, and those first party treatment games will get this intro that you're about to see right now on the video. And guys, honestly, I think it's great. I think it's a really slick looking design. I think obviously, you know, you can make comparisons to the Marvel Studios, different things like that. And I believe Xbox also came out with the intro that's similar to this as well. I think that came out a few weeks ago, but it's definitely reminiscent of like that Marvel Studios. Like once you see that red Marvel Studios type of logo and everything, you know, like you're about to get an MCU banger, right? And they did want to kind of facilitate that with the brand and you know, in terms of PlayStation, and have a similar type of iconography of an intro of like a opening really cool splash screen, and have that. Like we are going to start seeing this. They did mention that, you know, by this new branding being developed, that we won't see it on Last of Us Part 2, we won't see it on Ghost of Tsushima, and we won't see it on, you know, like other games that are coming up around this generation, but they do plan on rolling it out this fall. So we will start seeing it, of course, on PS5 games, and I'm sure those like really big cross-generation bangers on the PlayStation platform, and I'm sure that we will, you know, get that whole thing as well across those platforms. But I think what's really gonna be interesting is that you know, of course, we are getting big games like MLB The Show 21 coming to other consoles, and that is going third party to a degree. Like it is still a PlayStation game, but we're going to see this intro, you know, on MLB The Show 21. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see, you know, the day when someone, you know, like boots up or loads up MLB The Show 21 on their Xbox or their Switch, and they see that PlayStation Studios intro. I think it's going to be really interesting. But again, referring back to that gamesindustry.biz article, they did have some, you know, quotes on why they wanted to do this, and they just wanted to overall like make sure that the consumer, you know, knows that you know, what they are about to play is going to have a higher tier quality with that PlayStation goodness. So they say here that you know, they will see the branding and associate it with the quote quality games that they've come to expect from Sony. So it'll appear on trailers. It should be appearing, I believe, on box art. The like PlayStation Studios logo will, I'm sure, be on box art and different stuff like that. So I think it's a really cool addition, but let's go into some more details on this whole logo. And of course, there is more than meets the eye when it comes to just like this PlayStation Studios logo as well as this intro, because they did lay out some interesting details on this gamesindustry.biz article, which again, linked below in the description. They did say that, you know, so just for example, right, you guys know how, you know, on the like Marvel Studios intro, right, like that like tends to change. Like for example, I guess spoiler alert for Infinity War and Endgame, right? Like spoiler alert if you guys have not seen those movies somehow. But with Endgame, if you pay attention to the opening Marvel Studios splash screen, you only have characters that survived the snap from Infinity War on that thing, and like it was purposely changed to kind of have like a little like homage to that and stuff like that. And there's plenty of examples of that intro changing over the course of movie to movie, but the format still stays the same as the Marvel Studios intro. They plan to do the same thing with these PlayStation games, but it's going to be a little bit different and really does take a little bit of a step forward from that point. To say here, quote, the intro you've seen is the one that has multiple games in it, but over time, as we introduce well-established franchises, we can tailor that opening a bit to possibly showing the franchise over the years, new characters that come into play, etc. There's a lot we can do that we're really excited about. So, for example, right, like, you know, if we have the next God of War 2, you know what I'm saying, like God of War Ragnarok is what people like to call it, you know what I'm saying, like the next iteration of God of War PS4, right? Maybe, you know, that intro of PlayStation Studios is going to feature like, you know, young God of War Kratos and, you know, God of War 1 from 2 to 3 to Ascension. Well, Ascension will be first, but I digress. You know what I'm saying, like, we like get to see that progression up until God of War PS4 and to the new God of War. Maybe we then see Atreus and Mimir, like, that's how they're gonna do it. And like the same thing I believe with like Spider-Man PS4, I'm sure we're gonna have, you know, some really cool art from the original Spider-Man PS4 leading up to some new stuff for Spider-Man 2 as that intro goes on. Same with Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's gonna be really, really cool. I would love to see like for like you know, other games that like are very, very old. Like I would have loved to see like this intro for like Medieval, right? And like how the original character model looked for Medieval. I forgot his name, like Sir Francis something. I forgot. I'll put it on screen. I forgot what it was, but like that character, right? Like to see how far they've evolved him, or if Final Fantasy VII was gonna get the stream, because I don't think it will. Maybe it will on the PlayStation versions, but I'm not sure. But like, if like Final Fantasy VII, you know, Remake Part 2 were to come out and they were to show like the old original sprites to their new character models, like it's gonna be really, really cool. And if I didn't mention it before, Horizon Zero Dawn, you know, like we like get to see really cool snippets of Aloy from the original Horizon Zero Dawn and how she'll look in the sequel. It's just going to be a great thing that I can't wait to see how they evolve it over time. But I did also want to read a little bit on this article that went into a little bit more detail on to like what games are like going to have this type of branding to it. But they do say here, quote, alongside games developed by Sony's first party studios such as Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Sony Santa Monica, Media Molecule, and Guerrilla Games, the PlayStation Studios brand will also apply to games made by work-for-hire developers under Sony's direction. If our studios are managing the production of these games and working with an external developer, it will still come out under the PlayStation Studios brand. It doesn't mean that we outright own the developer, but it just means we brought it up as a first party. In a lot of cases, we don't own the developer. So that was kind of like you know, laying out that it's not going to be only for first party. It will be for those second party. Like, I'm sure, hypothetically speaking, Predator Hunting Grounds would have had this iconography on there as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, any like second party relationship as well will have this branding, which is pretty cool to see. And lastly here, this isn't the first time we've actually seen this intro, kinda, sorta, right? So if you guys recall, of course, Ratchet and Clank 2016, I forgot which year it was, but the most recent Ratchet & Clank by Insomniac Games. It was a great game, very, very good. But if you guys remember that there was a movie that came out alongside that game, and I want to roll this opening animation that is very telling of where they kind of got this intro from. So yep, right there, the PlayStation Originals, you know, intro that was in the beginning of the Ratchet and Clank movie had a very similar format, similar vibe to it. So it looks like they have taken that intro and really kind of evolved it and adapted it to really feature and be for the PlayStation Studios of first party and second party games moving forward with PlayStation. So really interesting little find there. You know, I just found it on Push Square, and they did give credit to whoever found this. It was Orpheus79V. Again, down below in the description, I have all the links that I am referring to, and you can go over and give him a little credit because that was a very good find. That was a very, very good find, my man. Much appreciate the find right there. So overall, I think this is a really, really cool addition, honestly. Like, I know it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just an intro splash screen for new, you know, first party games and second party games. And I don't even know if this is really meant to take the place of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Like, I don't know if that, classic black with the white text, like if that's going away. But nonetheless, if it is, I mean, this is a great intro. I think it's gonna be really, really cool and would really kind of very much bolster, like, when you are playing a PlayStation exclusive, right? Like when you're playing like a PlayStation first party from the Worldwide Studios, like you are going to tell, and now it's like really, really going to mean something as what it's mean so much more during the PS4 era. So really cool to see this there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. What do you think about all this? Are you a fan of it? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Which games do you want to see have this new intro? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And make sure also, while you are down there, to check out our description where you can find our links to our Twitter, our Discord, as well as an Anchor link to listen to our long-form content and podcast format. That, of course, being Road to Part 2, as well as Safe Slot Podcast, and all the good stuff as well. Make sure to go to play those parts on Road to Part 2. We are doing the Last of Us replay series, the Last of Us stream series here on the channel. Make sure to tune in later today on Wednesday. We're going to do the second part of the stream series. Make sure to go check out the Twitter if you guys are confused on which part to play this week, and you'll be able to get filled in on all that information. It is a pinned tweet on Twitter at PSSourceVids. Like if you've enjoyed it, as well as stay subscribed to PlayStation Store to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.